This is one of the 2 missionaries we visited, Jenny, who runs a children's burn unit and cares for the sick. The medical facility's dispensary is empty, so she walks from bed to bed carrying a crate of medicine, providing all drugs, antiseptic products, bandages, strapping, and drips as requested. Jenny even provides surgical gloves, as nurses will not touch a patient without gloves, and there are none in the hospital.
Through a series of events that happened, I ended up with a burnt child. He pulled a pot of boiling hot porridge down his front, and his father strapped him to his back because he couldn't get help to take him to the hospital. Strapped him to his back and rode over our pass, which is about 20 kilometers, with the child on the back rubbing against him. So when he was at the hospital, when I saw, he had no flesh on the front, well, with no skin on the front and on his legs and thighs. And he couldn't admit him because he didn't have the money, and he was waiting for his wife to bring money, and eventually was admitted. And because we were $6 and the basic nurse wage is about $1 a month. Okay?
Jenny, I see a lot of food has been brought. Is that something you've used?
Absolutely. Recently we experienced a time period of 6 days where there was no food in the hospital. The thing is that for us, this is massive donation. More than getting what we want, we're getting what we need. And we're putting hope in the government, but actually, the new government, but actually we need to put hope in Christ. And you guys, in huge faith, have leapt out and given us Zimbabweans in the hospital hope.
And this is Vicky. Vicky has lived in a caravan in rural Zimbabwe for 8 years, serving Jesus in a number of different ministries.
My main ministry is actually running the mobile clinic from the Landi, and I go to the different communities during the week. I cover 7 different clinics in a week, and yeah, we'll see anything from 80 to 150 patients a day, treating them for anything. And I have a full open ministry, from the medical, it's just because that's my profession, it's just been a platform into the community, and it's actually opened the door for evangelism into the church. We've got opening into all the schools, to kids, to sanitation, to, farming. Really one of our problems in the country is education. The kids haven't gone to school now for 8 months.
The situation in Zimbabwe is bad. In the 90s, this was Zimbabwe's finest hospital. The country's downward spiral started in 2000 with the collapse of the agricultural sector, when President Mugabe started evicting 4,300 white farmers off their land. To date, fewer than 200 white farmers remain. He has also vowed to continue his land grab policy until all the white farmers are out of Zimbabwe. Sensitive viewers should be aware that the following visuals are disturbing.
Come to me, weary and burdened, I will give you rest. Come on in, all who are troubled, I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Enter in the peace of God will follow you. Falling on you.
Kelly is 9. She was involved in a road accident on Christmas Day. When the missionary first visited Kelly, flies were settled on her uncovered wounds, and she had no clothes to wear. The missionary covered the wounds with antiseptic, bandaged them, and clothed her. After being in the hospital for 2 days, Kelly still had not been tended to by nurses. Her face was a mangled mess, her right arm seriously damaged and broken, and her right leg had huge wounds on it. She was caked in dry blood, and the smell of rotting flesh was overpowering. She spotted the missionary's dad at her bedside, frantically grabbed his hand, and begged him to pray with her. The missionary realized that her wounds were too extensive for her to deal with, and begged staff to attend to her, clean her, and bandage her. On the 29th of December, 4 days after the accident, Kelly was finally attended to by the doctor on duty, and was given morphine. On the 30th, Kelly's face had still not been stitched, and was still a mangle of torn flesh. In desperation, the missionary wrote a note to the hospital superintendent, begging him to attend to her before it was too late. On the 2nd of January, she went in for surgery, 9 days after the accident. Following surgery, she began the road to recovery while reading her children's Bible and playing with the teddy that had been given to her.
For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Enter in the peace of God will follow you. Falling, falling, falling on you. The peace of God is falling.
We saw how old saline drip bags were being used as urine bags, and how they leak into a catchment bowl that had to be emptied by the patients themselves.
Will follow you. Falling, falling.
This man is dying of AIDS. He is 32 years old. The missionary at this location is limited in the amount of time she is able to spend at the medical facility, as she frequently receives
You
death
see what they
threats.
do here? Come see, it's just really horrendous. They put a plate in the head, and that plate is actually in the head, and then they suspend a weight to pull his spine straight.
Come to me, weary and burdened, I will give you rest. Come on in, all who are troubled, I will give you rest.
I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the children, for the people that are victims of political violence and victims for the lack of human rights. And I believe personally that human rights should be maintained within the hospital walls, and they haven't been. But this allows it. It is a right to have pain relief when you're in pain. It is a right to be bandaged and treated with dignity when you're ill. And this will allow it. So I'd like
No, I just want to say thank you to many of you guys who've given towards the clinic and for the food. And hey, we greatly appreciate it. And I think a bit of this you can see where it's been helped, which is really helping the folk. So thanks again.
We would like to thank you, our partners. Through your prayer, donations, support, and love, you are serving the needs in Africa.
And the peace of God will follow you.